Hello and welcome to the zoominghooskpodcast, and I'm your host, Dustin DaHusky.
Who? And I'm Korean Topos, sorry.
With special guest,
Lilia Roo.
Oh,
I haven't
my
been
God,
here
Roo.
for a while.
It has been a while. In fact, it's been such a while. It has been a very long while.
It's too much a while.
Yeah, it's... We've been wanting to get you on the show for a long, long time.
Aw, thank you.
It's just pandemic being stupid, but now with things looking better, it's like, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time to do.
Brought to us by Fago.
By Fago.
Have you gotten your shot yet?
I'm still scheduling mine, but that's actually my company has an organization for us to go through to schedule and whatnot. So I just got to do that tonight because I kind of want to get that done on a Saturday in case I get like a bad reaction as far as like the effects. I'd rather get it on a Saturday afternoon after my shift is over. Get it Saturday, feel like crap Sunday and Monday, and hopefully by Tuesday I would be somewhat feeling normal enough that I can go about my day without suffering.
That's good.
Because my only other day off is Thursday. But imagine going to work Friday and Sunday feeling like total shit. What are you looking for, Kat?
You had water.
Oh, that cup is gone.
Oh, I'll give you another one.
It is no more.
That's sad.
I ate the cup.
So
Angry.
he's a zooming cat. He's zooming all over the place now.
He's a sourpuss.
He is very much a sourpuss. So I either do it on a Thursday if that's the only time to do it, which I really don't want to. Where the time I would rather do it is immediately after work on a Saturday that I can, hey, get it, then recover for the whole weekend, and then see if... Because some people either get a reaction from their first shot or their second. And from what I've been told, if you get a reaction from your first shot, you've had it without you knowing. You were a carrier or asymptomatic, but never had any of the symptoms. And if it was the second one, then for some reason that works that way. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that.
Don't break your toes,
I'm not sure how true that is either. I know for me at least, I got my first shot on a Sunday, and walking back from my appointment place, I thought, I feel good. Moving my arm around, like, I got this. Get back to my apartment. About 10 minutes later, I realized Moderna has hands, and ended up spending the rest of the day in my bed. So,
did you feel sick or was it just sore?
I felt sick. I had a number of illness-like feelings, like I had the whole really bad, can't tell if you're warm or cold type of deal.
Oh, so you had the chills.
It was really bad at night. I was shivering kind of bad under my covers, had a dull headache the whole entire day. Just lots of kind of the typical illness symptoms. Then I was fine the day after. Still sucked that I kind of lost a day to it. About a week later, I started getting some soreness in my armpit, which I've been told is somewhat normal. Then it was fine after that. The thing I'm kind of worried about, though, is I hear the second shot is typically worse for most people. I have my second shot this Sunday, which hopefully yet again it only stays into a Sunday, because if it peels over into Monday, I can take off of work. I can't easily take off of college, so hopefully things work out.
Yeah, I really don't have any days off that I could really take off. I mean, technically they say I have 1 day a month that I could use if I ever really needed to. But the idea is that I don't want to actually do that. Because one, I'd rather get paid for it. Because you don't get paid for that.
That's shitty.
I would rather... What's actually weird about this job is that you get vacation days, but you don't get any actual sick days. Which I don't understand.
Also,
why
like
that's
the same pool?
What's that?
They're like from the same pool of PTO then? Or...
I have no idea how that's supposed to work. Although you are granted sick days if you can prove after the third day that you're actually sick with his doctor's note.
Okay.
But at that point, it's like, shit. When I got sick in the past, I almost never took a day off until that one time where I drank out of a, what was it, a Robitussin bottle or
Oh, God, don't remind me.
Tums? I forget.
It was a Pepto bottle.
Yeah, and that was legitimately the only time in 11 years I've ever called, not only had to call in sick, I actually took a half day off because I felt so ill that I had to take the rest of the day off because I felt like throwing up, which I would have rather throw up on my boss's desk, which I was hoping to, but
Aw.
never did.
Poor Hoosk.
But normally I just go into work sick. It's just normally it's never bad enough to where it infects other people. It's just I feel a bit ill, I feel a bit crummy, but not enough to where it stops me. That totally stopped me. That literally ruined. And I had it for 3 weeks.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, it was bad.
I felt so awful. I felt so guilty.
It was, yeah. Never, ever, ever ask anyone for their not their Tums. I forget.
Pepto.
Pepto. If it comes in a bottle, and if it comes in a liquid, don't even bother.
Yep.
Tums, the tablets, maybe. You still have grubby fingers in there anyway. Honestly, you're better off buying a brand new anything if you don't
What was
have
the restaurant we went to? You had a
It was
gift.
Ruby
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Ruby Tuesdays. You had a gift card,
Was that from work?
or from Christmas.
Something.
I thought it'd be a good idea to use it up.
Yeah.
We went there. You weren't feeling good from the minute we got there.
No, you know what it actually is? Because when I don't feel good, it's when I don't eat on time. I get sick.
Hunger pains.
I get hunger pains to the point that I feel like I am actually sick. Which is why I get hangry, which you've experienced this.
Many times.
And it's not me being an asshole, it's literally my body saying, we're going to partially shut down a bit to where that you're going to have to drag me around to feed me. And me being hangry is my last chance before that happens, because then I just start to get full on coma, lazy. And,
Swirling?
oh, the ultimate swirling, but it is not the fun type of swirling.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that sucked. But
An angry swirl.
an angry swirl is not a very pleasant swirl. But I'm hoping within the next few weeks I can get a shot scheduled on a Saturday that I don't have to worry about coming in the next day feeling ill if it happens to be.
Right.
And getting the second one, the same deal on a Saturday, so that way I don't have to worry about being full on sick at its zenith on a day that I'm working, which driving, if you've ever drove and are sick at the same time, you realize how much you hate doing what you're doing right there and then just by driving around to work. Well, then imagine driving to work and then driving around for your work.
Oh, no.
That would be awful for me.
No.
The only time that I hate driving is when I'm actually like horridly sick because I feel like throwing up. So, yeah. I want to at least get it on a Saturday so that I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, good idea. That is a very good idea. And in fact, you should be able to get the second shot on the same day of the week as the first one, because for me at least, I was automatically scheduled for 28 days after my first dose.
So, that's kind of still in the works. My company didn't seem to offer it much at all until they're like, well, what about us? Because we're technically essential workers, so much so that I think the mask mandate is off for the whole state, or I don't know if it's for Waukesha County or for the whole state. But the only workers that are mandatory to actually, not even law enforcement, not even firefighters, that's voluntary for them. It's mandatory for public transit to actually wear their masks. Those are the only people in the state right now who are mandated to still wear a mask regardless.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Firefighters are exempt. Police are exempt. EMTs are exempt. However, like anything, it's optional if you want to wear it.
How about doctors?
Oh my god. So, let's actually talk about that. I'll let Kurdan talk about this.
So we went to an antique store in downtown Waukesha. And the owner and her employee were both very nice and
I've never had an issue with them for
courteous.
many years.
No, they've always been nice. And another gentleman came in and was really loud. He was like, "Wow, look at this place!"
Oh yeah.
Right? Wasn't he kind of loud and obnoxious?
Yeah.
From the get-go. And the kid that worked there was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna need you to go ahead and mask up." And the guy was like, "Oh, no thanks. It's all right. I'm good."
Excuse
Well,
me?
you're forgetting one thing.
What?
You said, "Oh, well, don't you know that there's no mask
That's
mandate
after.
anymore?"
But his initial reaction was, "No thanks. I'm good."
Really?
Yeah. Because then the kid explained further, we do ask that all of our patrons wear a mask to enter. So, yeah. The guy was he went from being mildly pleasant to completely rude. Explained he was a doctor. We kind of left halfway through his little argument.
Well, actually, we were on our way out.
Thank
we
God.
we finished paying what we found, and we're walking out when he came in.
But we were able to overhear that at least. So we went over to
Starship
Records,
That's a cool name.
which is literally just across the street and like 4 or 5 storefronts down.
Mm-hmm.
And they have cassettes and vinyls and DVDs, video games,
I mean, they have.
everything.
If it's a format, they'll have it.
Right.
Except for like Laserdisc, because I didn't see any Laserdiscs.
They did.
So.
Oh.
They did?
No, I'm sorry, not Laserdisc, Blu-ray. Sorry. don't
I
know
mean,
how I
oddly
confused the
enough,
two.
Half Price Books has Laserdiscs.
Whoa.
Such a terrible
I don't know about... Wait, no, they didn't have Laserdisc. They had,
Blu-ray.
No, they had... I mean, Blu-rays everywhere, but...
Betamax.
It's like a cartridge. It's like a giant plastic cartridge. Think of like a floppy disk, except big, the size of like a record cover.
Okay.
And you shove it into a machine, and apparently it plays movies. I think Philco, someone in the Seaweed chat had a machine. Oh, it was Roswell. Roswell had a machine where it had these little flat plastic cartridges that looked like a record cover because it was square. It was square in shape, but it's like film inside, and it reads off the film through this machine, and you put it to any TV, and it'll display an image and music, much like a VHS tape. And Half Price Books has like a whole section of these types of formats, which I never even. I thought it was maybe Laserdisc, but it definitely wasn't Laserdisc.
So we went there, and sure enough, that guy popped in there too.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Oh no.
And he was like, "Wow, look at this place. It's vinyls."
are these actual vinyls?
He was a complete douche. At that point, I was like, "Oh God, this guy."
He's
And
a
then he
total
immediately
joke.
got in your face
Yeah.
and said, "What?"
He said, "Why are you wearing your mask? You need to wear a mask." And I said, and I kind of maybe snapped, but it's like, shit, I don't have enough time for chode face today, because I'm just enjoying my weekend off.
Right.
Right.
And I kind of like told him, you know, as a bus operator for Milwaukee County, I think it's a good idea that I am wearing my mask, because you're better off with that.
Right.
And then he just fucked off.
I mean, at this point, this is my personal opinion. I just think,
He was a troll.
well, yeah, obviously. But as far as mask is concerned, it's up to the individual. If you feel the need to wear it, then wear it.
Yeah.
I won't judge you for wearing it. Likewise, I won't judge you for not wearing one.
Just don't be a cantankerous
Just-
fuck.
right. Just don't sit there and try to convince me either way, because you know what? It's a waste of time and energy.
Yeah, and we're on the downswing of this anyway. If anything, if you still want to have a mask mandate, if you still want to have one,
Make it
There-
voluntary.
even if it wasn't voluntary, there is very little reason for a vaccinated individual to have a mask. I think if anything, we really need to focus more on not necessarily, hey, continue to buckle down, but also add in at least kind of messaging in general, just saying, hey, we're almost there. Just to kind of show that, hey, we are going to have a amazing summer with the rate that we're going. I know that changed topics like 3 times within that, but I suppose the continuing thread there is we do need to emphasize that we're going to lighten up on this starting now.
I think we're just going to go the way of Japan, where it's going to be a societal thing where people realize, hey, I'm sick, but I don't want to take a sick day, so I'm going to wear a mask.
Right.
Since we've already done this all last year and probably
Right.
some bits of this year or all of this year, just for a lot of people, we've now seen people wear masks normally. That we've seen people wear masks in places where you probably shouldn't wear a mask. Places where you think, hey, you're concealing your identity, like a gas station.
Yeah.
Now, we've eliminated the trope that if you're a masked person in a gas station, you're really out to do something stupid, and which would prompt the owner to take out the shotgun from underneath the counter and aim it at you because he thinks you're up to no good. Since we've now normalized mask wearing, like in Japan, where it's just an ordinary thing, and it's
Has been for many decades.
for about nearly a century at this point, since the Blue Fever of 1923.
Yeah.
Japan has been wearing masks. Not everyone, but some people opted for masks, and it's just been a typical thing.
Yep.
I think in this country, there won't be a mandate. I still think long after pandemic is gone, I still think we'll see people who are definitely immunocompromised, who will probably likely be wearing masks from this point on when out in public. Maybe not around with family, or maybe even with family, if they're that compromised. Help. If it helps you get along, or it helps you get by,
Right.
it's not a bad thing. Some people will not wear the mask ever again. Some will continue to do so for legitimate reasons. Hey, I'm actually sick. I don't want to spread my germs. I don't want to take a sick day for this. But I still want to come into work to save the sick day and probably still get paid. Because if you even take the sick day, you're not going to get paid sometimes.
Right.
For me, the mask will serve as a protectant from my farts and other people's farts.
Breathing in poop particles.
Yep, breathing in poop particles, bad breath, cigarette smoke. It protects me from all those things. I have asthma, so cigarette smoke actually makes me wheeze.
Asthmatic poos.
Aw.
Yep.
Yeah, like with masks too, at least the KN95s that I wear, mainly because my work keeps giving me a shit ton of them,
Mm-hmm.
they are actually kind of nice in the winter because I feel like in some ways it's actually kind of nicer to breathe. You know, I'm not really sure how to explain it, but
Yeah.
at least in the winter, it almost kind of helps. That is until you start having your liquid breath just start dripping on your nose, but
Then welcome to the world of fursuiting at that point.
yeah.
I mean, I work in a cooler for over half the day in 32 degrees, and wearing the mask keeps my face warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But over time, like you said, the moisture in your breath and everything, it starts to soak the mask.
Yeah, it's not necessarily annoying. It's just more of a thing like, oh, I've been wearing this for this long now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point earlier, though, about wearing it while sick, makes me kind of wish now that at least some points in my past, I had a mask, like mainly like when I got diagnosed with whooping cough, of all things, in the middle of high school. When I was still in the infectious period, I would have liked to have had that just to, protect other people from the 3-month stint of that.
Yeah.
Again, it's a good societal thing that Americans are not used to doing. Because in this country, it's the individual that matters, whereas in other parts of the world, well, really the rest of the world, it's society in whole. What's good for society is good for the individual. In this country, it's the opposite. What's good for the individual is good for society. While it's good to have individuality, often enough it really halts the progress of society as a whole.
Only when you take it in the respect that they're trying to control me and tell me what to do, so I'm just not going to wear this mask because they tell me to.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, yeah, you're being stubborn.
I literally just think at this point, we're at a point where everybody's got the right to make the decision, and if they choose not to, or if they choose to, either way, I'm fine with it.
And you shouldn't have to question people, oh, well, you're wearing a mask. Oh, you drive a Toyota?
Right.
It's those kind of stupid questions of why does it matter and why do you care?
And it's not my place to convince people either way. There was a guy at Walmart just 3 or 4 days ago, and he was talking to a lady. She was wearing a mask. He wasn't. And he was sitting here it was a good half-hour conversation. And I kept kind of staying nearby where they're at so I could kind of eavesdrop a little bit and just hear what he had to say. And it was so much propaganda and...
From the dude without the mask?
Yeah. And I kind of sat there awestruck, like, really? You're really trying hard to get this lady to take her mask off. And they were friends. I think neighbors or...
acquaintances.
Estranged malady. Family of some sort, maybe.
That's pure pressure.
Yeah, right. And
it's much like my boss telling me when I bought my current car, so you bought yourself a Kia. It's like, you didn't realize the car I was driving before I got this one was also a Kia, so you didn't realize that either.
So he's trying to make a stupid point.
He is trying to make a point that, why don't you not buy American? Well, because everything's a truck these days to Americans, and so, and this reason, and that reason, and this and that. Frankly, it's like me asking Lilia, why are you wearing a burgundy shirt? Why not red? Why not pink? Why not white? White is a good shirt, right?
That's actually a good question, because when I woke up this morning, I actually did decide, do I want to wear red or burgundy?
I do the same thing. I do.
So it's very much like asking people kind of dumb questions of, why did you wear a burgundy shirt when you could be wearing chartreuse?
He wore it because he just wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. You wear a mask because you want to. You wear a mask because it is maybe the common sense thing to do. If you don't want to wear a mask, good for you. Your health is no concern to me because you decide to not wear a mask. But for me, I think my health is valuable. If I want to wear a mask, do it.
How is the spicy tuna melt?
I like that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really enjoyed that.
You don't feel ill at all?
No.
Good. Then I did my job.
Aw.
If I died, I'll at least be around people I care about.
Cats and roos can share the same basic diets.
Now, a little random note. Tuna is a pretty good fish, actually. It's very tasty. But much like a lot of other fishes, you don't want to eat them too often in a week. Particularly tuna, for one odd reason.
What reason is that?
Is that tuna is the one fish, and I don't know if it's the fish, but it's one of those fishes that absorbs the most amount of mercury in the water.
Okay.
However, the trace of mercury in a tuna is so low that your body does not recognize it
Okay.
or does any ill effect.
So you
because
probably have to eat it literally every day, probably,
Exactly.
to be affected by it in any way.
Become the
say-
Mad Hatter.
They say that if you eat tuna twice a week, you're within good levels of not getting mercury poisoning. Eventually, if you eat tuna every single day for months and months without end, you will get mercury poisoning. And why that stemmed, or where it stemmed from, because tuna used to not be like that, where you could eat canned tuna all the time. Well, since World War II, a German submarine carrying like 50 barrels of mercury that sank in the North Atlantic because it was depth charged. Well, in the last 50 years, that wreck's been rusting. So those barrels and a little bit of mercury leaches out from that and then literally contaminated much of the Atlantic.
So it seeps out.
So Atlantic tuna, if you get Atlantic tuna, I'm sure there's mercury in the Pacific, but particularly in the Atlantic, there's, I think, one or two sunk German U-boats that was trying to transport mercury to Japan, got intercepted in the process and depth charged. Now the levels of mercury in the ocean have increased due to those submarines.
Oh, jeez.
And there is no way of actually recovering any of it because it's so deep. But now since the mercury levels have gotten so high lately, now they're really considering an impossible project of destroying the wreck to gain at the barrels, which in the process you might destroy the barrels, then letting go all of the mercury all at once. Yeah, it's actually insane. But tuna's a good fish. I like tuna. It's just you eat it more than right.
Get a very large magnet and get all the liquid mercury. Just
Oh yeah.
yoink it out of the water. Problem solved.
It's a very interesting fact that not many people might know.
Yeah, today I learned.
But yeah, tuna just somehow absolutely loves to absorb mercury, and I don't understand why. It just is. And then tuna's like, "Oh, I'm a tuna." Oh.
Have you seen a tuna? They're actually really ugly fish.
Yeah.
They're like tall and like thin,
Hey, me. Well, not the tall part.
but like they're kind of like a big disc, aren't they? No, they're long.
I don't.
They're long.
You know what?
Yeah.
Screw it.
We can use our magic
They
internet
look
device.
they look like fat sharks.
That just makes it more adorable. I don't know.
Yeah. They're like fat tubby sharks. I think. I don't know. Maybe it might be the wine talking.
That is a big tuna.
Let's see them.
They're tuna shaped.
Oh yeah, they're like fat sharks. Isn't that what I said?
You know what? At least it's a shark you can touch.
Yeah,
It's gonna fuck you up a bit.
And they got like a pointy thing on them, don't they?
They have many, many pointy
Let me
things.
see it again.
the tuna also has a face of
I can't
sadness
see.
right now.
My eye.
Because it's caught.
They are, well, I mean, a lot of fish have fins that are pointy.
I mean, they would have
Bass.
spines.
Bass have very much, the whole top half of them is one big long fin. And when you catch them, the fin flares out.
And then there's bluegills
And
where
pokes you.
they're kind of slimy fish where,
yeah.
you know, they're very, very spiny. With
Bluegill's good, though, like eating-wise.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We had fish fry where it was all bluegill.
I didn't realize you can eat bluegill.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I learned something new today.
Bluegill's good. Crappie is good. I mean, you could eat all fish.
Is it
really.
crappie or crappie?
Well, it's kind of crappy, but it's really crappie.
Because I hear so many people say, "Oh yeah, I've caught a ton of crappies." Like,
You gotta make it fancier. Just call it a croquet.
I prefer that. You know what?
Wow,
I am a croquet.
This guy is literally
professional.
romancing this tuna.
I am a croquet connoisseur. Aw.
He's like, let's go on a date, tuna. Me and my tuna, we're gonna go out.
My tuna is finger banging me.
Anybody want to take a selfie with me and my tuna?
What is it with this dude's feet?
And suddenly there's 50 dating
I'm more
simulation
concerned
games
about
on
this dude's
Steam.
feet. Why is it so bloody?
Oh no!
Oh my god, what the hell did he do? Did he use his feet as bait?
No, it's probably from the tuna.
The tuna likes Pete's.
The tuna is a furry.
You know, there is probably a tuna furry somewhere. Come eat a piece of me, big boy. Oh.
Where's your Google search bar?
Make me a sandwich with me.
You can have one of the draw over pictures of the Ever Given stuck in the Suez Canal, but it's just
Oh, yeah.
one giant anthro tuna being seductive.
I'm lodged in your canal. Oh,
Come eat me and go crazy from mercury poisoning.
oh. Oh, and you know people are going to be like, oh, I like that kind of stuff. I like to be glowing or insane. So, wait, isn't like the powdered wigs of like the 1700s of like, you know, people wearing powdered wigs? Wasn't that arsenic or, I think it was arsenic that was the powder, which eventually made people insane. And also, too, tin can food was new at that time, which was sealed by lead, which also made people insane. You know what? Just people are insane in general.
Yes.
It's just back then people didn't know, and they're like, well, it is normal.
Yes. And you did not have the internet to normalize it.
Give me another can of beans to where that I will keep tooting and keep yelling at myself in a mirror.
Tuna fursuiter.
Tuna transformation.
Not Luna. Tuna.
Luna Fursona. I don't know who would Luna be, but...
Tuna fish.
What is that? Aww. It's a cat.
Owned by Pokari.
Aww, that's cute. It's a shark-cat hybrid.
A tuna. Cat.
Gender androgynous. Hell yeah.
It's a tuna. Aw, that's cute. That is so cute.
Yes.
It's a tuna fish, and it's at that point just make it a catfish and just catfish. That's adorable. I'm saving that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, look at that!
Somehow I'm lasting on like 4 hours sleep.
Yeah, that's pretty,
That is not enough sleep.
No, it isn't.
So, what else is new in the world of Roo?
Let me take a moment to think.
Your DTD got accepted.
Yeah, so thanks to Dustin and Kurdan and Amika's significant other.
Kelly.
Yes, Kelly.
I forget her fur name.
She has a fur name?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I didn't know that she is a furry too, but
she is a furry now.
Really?
We
Nice.
converted one. One of us. One of us.
Because I know that her Twitter handle is Kimmy Changa.
That sounds
or Titty
about right.
Changa.
That sounds familiar.
And then I think her AD account's Kim Titties or something.
She has an
don't
ID
know.
account?
She has an ID account. But, yes, we all decided to help Roo out with her duct tape dummy, and we got it done in a record time. It didn't take very long either. At what, like...
Well, two terrors, 2 placers,
Yeah, and then 1 Roo.
and 1 Roo.
And then I think maybe 90 minutes of our time, and we were able to get it done pretty quickly.
Half of which was probably spent trying to cut me out because my silly Roo brain decided to choose very thick clothing rather than the recommended painter smock. But we got me out, and funnily enough, me shipping the duct tape dummy to my fursuit maker was not only the first time sending a international package to the mail, it was actually my first time sending a package to the mail at all.
Wow. So you got like the full experience.
Yes, and
Where
thankfully
did you send your duct tape dummy?
I sent it to Germany, and the maker I'm looking at is known as Lilia Roo, otherwise known as Wild Spot Works. I chose them rather than a domestic maker because I want a Roo suit that looks like a Roo and not like a canine. And thankfully, the duct tape dummy was not only arrived at its destination, which I was glad about, was kind of anxious about the whole international shipping thing. It not only arrived, but the maker says it's great and is good for use. So in a few weeks, they will start work on it, and we'll see where to go from there.
And you're going to be the first... What?
Yeah, I'm actually... I believe I'm the first overseas customer from that maker. So
That's so
there's
cool.
some things that we're working out right now concerning how to actually get the suit over here once it is made. Mainly to get around certain things with the import process.
Yep.
Currently looking at possibly having the suit be sent in 2 shipments, so there is no need to make a formal declaration of the contents for the whole customs process. But otherwise, right now, so far, everything is looking promising. Everything is looking exciting. I am very glad to have the ball rolling on this.
That is very exciting. And the Roo is going for the finer things in life. Instead of going for domestic manufacture, the tastes are going for imported goods. I only want the best.
German
And
engineering.
The Germans can engineer some beautiful things.
Yes.
Oh. I only like the best. They make good cars, so I assume they make good fursuits.
Let's see, what else has been new? Work stuff that I probably can't talk about without getting fired due to NDA.
Uh-oh.
School's been kind of a pain, but at least that'll be over somewhat soonish.
Oh yeah, that's right. As a former high school, no, not high school. As a former college student myself, many moons ago, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Around May is kind of the end of the spring semester.
Yes.
To which then you can say a sigh of relief that you survived an entire academic year at school, to where that you can actually relax for 4 months before needing to go back to it again. And then halfway through, you're counting through the days of, I don't want to go back, I don't want to go back, I don't want to go back.
Yeah, and what's funny with that is, well, I have an internship while I'm doing full-time student, and over the summer where I shift to working full-time rather than part-time like I do during the school year, that is actually still a lot more relaxing than actually having the part-time work with the full-time school load. So it actually kind of works out where I'm less stressed, and I'm actually having more money because I'm not paying out the pouch for tuition, and I'm actually taking in more money anyway. And you know, this summer is gonna look really nice because I really hope I can get on checking out cons and stuff like I planned to do last year.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the year will bring ahead. I would like to think some things can come back, but knowing the vaccination process will still take some time. The summer is going to be fun because I think people will get back together on
Yeah.
like on an individual and small group basis again. As far as large groups, as in like more than 10, more than 20, um, you'd have to be questioning of who can show up because, vaccination. With big enough groups where
Yeah.
going different ways, you're afraid of, some form of contamination. Um, I'm just not sure if meets and cons will come back. I'm sure by 2022 they should. It's just, I like to think of this period as the transitional period of now that we get the vaccine, we can slowly get back to normal life and see how that goes and see if that's
Yeah.
even possible.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm just amazed how quickly we are going with this. We
Oh,
go
yeah.
from being projected to June for general availability to May to now
In the state of
April 5th in the state of Wisconsin. You have everyone getting it. And I was just
over the
actually,
age of 16.
yes, over the age of 16. That is very important to put in there. Thank you. Um,
I forget if it was 16 or 18, but
16.
16? Okay. And that's literally anyone.
Yes, and
Anyone.
I'm just amazed by that, just considering, 3 weeks ago, suddenly realizing I'm eligible because of the industry that I work in, because I work in senior living. And even the weeks leading up to that, the amount of people I know who had at least one shot went from barely anyone to a lot of people. I think we're going to get through this really quickly. And I know places like Anthrocon, I believe, has already been canceled. But
Right.
one thing I am looking forward to, though, in August is Megaplex in Florida because I really hope to use that as an opportunity to meet two good friends that I've known for several years.
I think that'd be really cool. I think, if anything, if I've got my eyes set on any major event, it would definitely be MFF because I think by the end of the year,
I need to go to MFF. I've never been there.
it's pretty good. It's huge con, but
Can take the train there.
who knows? If the Let's see if the pandemic stunted the growth for this year, or people are blue-balled to go anywhere. That it's going to be a 20,000 attendee convention, which ASEN is currently there, and they have 30,000 people.
Holy heck.
So it is totally possible that you could put 30,000 furries in one convention space at that exact spot. Will it actually happen? Who knows? If people are thinking of the same thing of just going to one event, and that'd be MFF, oh, it's totally possible. Will it probably happen? Again, it's possible, but I think
I
it'd
would
be
say
hard
yes.
pressed. But that'd be the one kind of I'd probably look into probably going if I still have the schedule. I'd probably go for like Saturday into Sunday, or maybe, I don't know. I don't get my vacation time till next year anyway.
Oh no.
Well, starting a new job, you don't get your vacation until a year after you survive the first year, which I kind of expect that. But it's 2 weeks, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
If anything, would rather focus on just local cons, just Aquata Fur and Fur Squared,
Oh, I need to.
and then
I want to check
maybe,
out Aquata Fur.
and then maybe, although I have to figure out how the vacation process actually works, because I may not even get the chance to take time off for anything until I know how it works. It is a possibility, though. And there's more people working there than in my old job, where in my old job, only one person could be off on vacation at a time. However, since the amount of, not downsizing, but people quitting over the course of 2 years, we still got enough done on a skeleton crew in the last year than, still doing the same amount of work that we had double the amount of people. I just thought it's weird to only have one person off at any one time. But yet, there's been moments where someone's on vacation and someone calls in sick anyway, so it's like, well, what's the whole point of having one person off if someone's going to probably call in sick anyway while someone's gone anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Or they decide, hey, I absolutely cannot stand this boss. Goodbye.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm quite glad I'm far away from that hellhole.
You need a hug.
Yeah. We are currently hugging.
Yes. Yes, we are.
And I have petted the Roo. But yeah, things are a lot better. It's just I won't really be able to do anything on my own time by having some time off until next year, which to me is more exciting, which is why I think as far as events are concerned, I probably wouldn't be able to do anything as far as cons are concerned. Meets, if it's safe enough to do meets sometime this year, we might maybe introduce them at a small pace and just see how things go. I don't know about
if anything, I think May, or possibly if you want to be more conservative about it, and no, not in the political sense, June probably definitely would be the latest that you could probably start bringing meets back, because the rate at which we're getting through this is insane. I am quite optimistic for all this. And even consider this, the fact that we're even doing this podcast. Yeah, it's with a few people, but
right.
You can have a meet with a few people if you just want to start out small. But I think I do think it's better to be more optimistic about this type of thing, just seeing the amazing rate at which we are progressing through this, at least in the country of the United States.
And if anything, with furries are very proactive when it comes to getting their vaccines. So it is totally possible that meets could come back. My only focus is to see what the state CDC guideline would be, because there is a possibility that people could still call and turn you in if you have a big enough event, which is the only worry that I would probably have. And I do believe the cat is about to loaf. He might be loafing. Aww. He's gonna loaf in a box.
Go sleep.
I've been up since 2 this morning, so I'm afraid I have to
go sleep.
Turn in.
That's fine. We can continue this with Roo while you're loafing in box. So this is an early sign out for Kurdan.
Good night, guys.
Good night, Kurdan. Do a good loaf.
Go sleep.
I think with furries, I don't see it so much as an issue, but someone made a suggestion to me that if let's say my bonfire meets were to come back, which I would actually have to contact the reservation that I've found that would be a good location for future meets, but since with what's going on and whatnot and kind of being on the spot, I don't want to freak them out for something sudden, so I kind of want to methodically go into it and see how it goes. So I may even have a prototype meet for that alone with a few other people, if that's possible. If anything, that's probably what's going to happen. It'd still be on a Saturday, but it'd have to work around my schedule, so it'd probably start around the normal times of ordinary bonfire meet instead of at noon. What's that?
Oh, want to move the mic? Or
Actually, no. That mic actually picks up quite well.
okay.
Incredibly well. It's just Kurdan tends to speak quite softly, and it often enough doesn't pick him. Sometimes he's totally silent when he is actually talking.
Oh no!
So the
Oh,
poor
no.
puss has to really really meow lots.
Meow.
I'm sure it probably picked that though. But as far as I'm concerned, for my meets, I just want to make sure that CDC guidelines will allow us to do an event, that we don't get called on by local law enforcement to say, hey,
Right.
Because not to say someone would probably do something like that, but there's a possibility that they could.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, why are these people have a big social event now, and we haven't done anything for last year, angry neighbors and whatnot, because of course you're going to have someone being a douchebag.
Right.
Like some of my neighbors are douchebags. Not my immediate neighbors. My neighbors' neighbors are douchebags. And they would be the ones to do something. Which is actually, no, they wouldn't be here. Okay, well then I guess that's not so much an issue. But I don't want to get the nature reserve in trouble if there's too many people there, because they're entirely self-funded, so it could hurt them pretty badly. Really, I'm just trying to look at this as best case scenario of, if we're allowed to, then oh yeah, most certainly I would love to do even a partial season just to see how it goes. Right now, I'm just gonna be good Hoosk and just wait until the CDC says, hey, vaccinated or not vaccinated, things are going to be okay. You can be among people without masks, even those who have not been vaccinated. It's perfectly safe to do so. We don't know when that's going to be, but when it does happen, then I'm going to gladly bring back my meets without an issue. I'm just a bit hesitant. But as far as other meets, if other meets do turn up, and if I'm around, yeah, I would definitely love to go check them out again, just to do something. It's just I don't want to be caught with my own pants down as far as getting into trouble where, oops, the state now knows me, which they already kind of do.
Right.
But,
right.
I still think there's a lot more excitement for this year to see how this year could go. It could go incredibly well, that it goes into the mythical pathway of things go so normal even by August. Things are going to be so normal that, yeah, you'll still have people wear masks, but now you could have groups up to 50 and more at events, to say that now it only takes one meet. I will tell you this, though, as a meet organizer, people are also afraid of starting a meet too soon because they don't want to be the ones to say, hey, they were making a meet during a time of pandemic. That may not look good for them. We're going to wait until someone does it first. Which then means, hey, well, at least we're not that meet. Or, because I'm going to be very honest, some organizers are very now cautious about getting the wrong message out. It's like, oh, yeah, we want to do this anyway.
Yeah, I know for me at least, I've been kind of antsy now the past few months, mainly due to back in December having a few weeks apart the culmination of mental health problems that resulted in having the police called on me, followed a few weeks later by Biscuit dying, and honestly since then I've kind of had, I don't know if it would be a fear, but kind of one thing that's kind of driven me to be more proactive in terms of actually being with people is just the thought lingering in the back of my head of, hey, if I don't do it now, I might never be able to meet with them again.
And that's exactly what I thought about yesterday with the passing of Dog Bomb, the 5th of April 2 years ago. And whether if you may not know, but me and Dog Bomb, not to say that we were, the ultimate friends, no. But me and him talked back and forth for nearly 9 years. Well, really 8, but we've been friends since 2010. And, you know, the last time I may have seen him at a convention was, 2015, 2016, physically. And, you know, and I thought I had a picture with him at a actually at MFF. I can't find the photo, whether if it existed or not. I could never find it in my archive, so I don't think it either existed or it's been lost. That kind of stuff made me anxious. Had literally yesterday some existential dread of doing things with people that at least I've experienced it, I have done it, and I got pets now. It's like I cherish the memory with Dog Bomb, so that's not gonna go away. But the idea of that photo burns in the back of my mind. Like, I could have been a bit more better at saving it, or I should have been more proactive if I didn't take the picture, to have taken the picture when I did at that time.
Yeah, that's
which
sorry, go ahead.
Which then from then stems into not just beyond it goes beyond Dog Bomb now. Now we're talking about conventions, and now we're talking about meets. So we're talking about friends and family. Now I'm starting to actually start to kind of fall apart now. Only in the sense that I've come to the point where, yes, if meets and cons can come back tomorrow, I would certainly be going to them, because I've waited a good year, like a lot of people have.
Yeah.
All of last year, I was as patient as a mountain, where other people were starting to get wore down as the months of 2020 wore on. I was doing incredibly well mentally about it. Doing my own thing, recharging my own batteries. And to me, that was like, okay, yeah, this is actually not so bad of a change after all. But now, you know, in the last month or two, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I actually do miss going to a fur meet. Not so much a fur con, because those are fun. But fur cons would only happen once a year for a particular convention, whereas a meet could happen every month.
Or sooner.
Or some meets go on 2 times a month if they're that insane. So you get to see your friends a lot more frequent, and that I start to miss more and more and more and more. The cons, you're not so much meeting up with local friends so much, because that's what fur meets are for.
Yeah.
However, the fur cons are more for regional and national types, where you know friends from across the country that you can't really see even if you wanted to, but a con is a perfect way of getting to see them again and such.
Right.
So I started to really think deep about it, and, you know, thinking about Dog Bomb, thinking about the connections we've had over the years, but also the few physical connections that we've had in the past. And he didn't make every single MFF, and then after a while he stopped going to them. He started going to more local cons, which people change their strategies of going to cons anyway, so, you know, I didn't take that offense or by any means. We all will do that at some point, where we may put emphasis on one con over another.
Right.
But the more that I thought about all those times of, like, it didn't happen, I didn't take the picture, I didn't get the autograph, I started thinking about not just Dog Bomb, but just my friends in general.
Oh shit, that selfie cam.
Uh-oh. I started thinking about my ordinary friends of, I miss them. I miss them a lot. I want to hang out with them. Not just even at a meet, just to hang out with them on an ordinary, normal basis.
Yeah.
I actually would love to hang out with more of my friends, Roo included.
Oh, thank you.
Just kind of like this, a podcast. There's no specific meet going on.
Right.
It's no con, although.
Right, and like I know when you had me, just you and me in your backyard with the fire
Yeah.
That was very, very nice at the time. Just kind of just talk about whatever. Then
Was that last year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
And then I remember we started talking about how the whole political and social structure of a community of furries, like just a town or village of furries, would work out.
that too. Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then your cosmological theory about the two Hoosks at the center of every galaxy.
Which technically we are on Adrian's arm, which is technically a lock of swirl from the plume of a Hoosk, of a space Hoosk, zooming around a pivotal point, chasing after each other, thus making a spiral galaxy. And then, when one Hoosk goes away, it's a very sad day, it becomes an unregular galaxy, and then it just becomes a mess.
Aww.
And then there's no swirling because it's just a mess. But a regular spiral galaxy is two Hoosks zooming so fast. It's just literally just plumes. We're technically all made of Hoosks. I do not know. This is all a theory. But yeah, see, it's that kind of stuff that I kind of wish I'd have more opportunities for, and something I want to actually change. It's much like ALS. We are the change that what would make the cure for ALS possible is the individuals. It's not so much corporations, but I mean, corporations can help make the cure, make the vaccine, but it's the people that are fed up against ALS is what's going to change ALS in our minds forever. I totally forgot where I was going to go with this, but anyway.
Power of the people.
The power of the people. Whereas, okay, so I remember what I was talking about. Is literally, if you want to see change, you got to do the change. You have to be the change. And this past year was kind of a blur, because not much has happened, because of course nothing much happened, and I didn't really get to hang out with as many friends as I would love to, but of course because pandemics you're being more cautious about that, and I can understand that. But being cautious is a good thing, but also it hurts, not so much the friendship, it's just it hurts that you don't get to see them often. You're still going to be friends with them. That doesn't change.
Right.
It's just, it hurts that you don't get to see your friends as often to make those memories. Because thinking about Dog Bomb and having the memories I've had with him, that's fun. I do regret not taking a better picture or knowing there was a picture. I did take a picture with him and my good friend Toxic Wolf. That picture I have that I took of them both. So there is a picture that I did take of Dog Bomb, just not with me in it, but I did take a picture of Dog Bomb with one of my friends. So that does exist. I thought I may have gotten a picture of myself with them. It may not happen. But that's okay, because my memory of him is still a better picture than an actual picture taken. Would I like a picture? Oh, yeah. But the picture of my mental mind of him will suffice forever, and that's perfectly fine for me. But the more that I think about that, it's like, I just want to be around with friends more often, just do something.
Yeah.
I mean, see them at a meet is great, but also just hang out with them outside of a meet, outside of a con. You get a better connection, you get a better feel with them. I think it's more normal, and being more normal, it feels more real. Not to say that seeing them at a meet or a con isn't real, because it is just as real.
Right.
But you feel like you're actually digging in more deeper. And I'm just thinking of...
Yeah, and I know for me, joining Seaweed helped me feel a lot better about my life. Yes, my voice is kind of tearing up a bit, but that's because I was thinking of the Biscuit, who unfortunately died in December.
Yeah, I was shocked about that.
Yeah. But when I joined Seaweed, before that, I always thought that, I always thought I was introverted. Like, oh, it's just in my nature to never really be with people. But that's because the people I had, I didn't really want to be with often. Like, really, the only people I had were very, very, very deep into weed culture, which I'm not enthralled by. I've tried smoking. It's not for me. But just going from that to now having this large variety of people who are doing stuff almost every weekend, getting engrossed in that, the game nights, the bonfires, the other stuff, even if it just ends up being, oh, I'm sitting in Dustin's car for about 2 hours after I should have left, and we're just talking about cars, even though I'm not really a car person. It's interesting. I love talking with my friends, and honestly, just having that, I think maybe what you're kind of going with that is just kind of having that almost kind of become a purpose of being alive, is just being there to be with the people we care about.
Being in the moment. Yeah, like totally being in the moment with the people that you absolutely are fond of. And that could extend to family as well, but mostly with friends too. And sometimes the best moments are the ones when you spend a day with someone. Again, like what I mentioned, you can hang out with all your friends all together at a meet or at a con.
Right.
You get everything all at once, but at a con, you might see them sporadically here and there.
And you're so pressed for time.
So really, for cons, it's not so much your local friends you're more concerned about. It's those that you don't see often.
Yeah.
And then for meets, certainly you do that with your friends at meets where now you can spend a bit more time because it's a small group, a small area, only at one venue, and it can only be so big. So you're not going far away from each other anyway, so you can catch up at any time.
Yeah.
Even if it is for 10 minutes, you might be bouncing around with other people for 10 minutes as well. Whereas if you're just hanging out with someone, you have their attention and they have yours for the entire day. Which in that case, you even grow closer with them because now you just don't see them as another fur at a meet that happens to be your friend. Now you're like, wait, there is no meet. This is literally hanging out with your friend.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something I could probably crave a lot more now. Just thinking about Dog Bomb, just thinking about the past year of kind of nothingness. Not to say nothing good ever came out of it. Still a lot more good came out of it. But I want to see more of the stuff I'm actually looking for. And that's just literally just wanting to hang out more with people.
Yeah.
I look forward to disc golfing for the main reason of I enjoy disc golfing. And I enjoy the friends that disc golf with me. It's not technically a meet. It's a gathering, but is it a fur meet? It sort of is and sort of isn't. I think it's just more for fun. It's more just a collection point of we get to shoot the shit, so to speak.
Yes, that is always great.
Keep tabs. Just see how things are going on in each other's lives and whatnot, and again get real and deep with that. Like a one-on-one session with one friend. It's a bit more personal, and at the end of the day, you feel a lot more happier because you get to talk with your friend. But unlike at a con or at a meet where it's going to be sporadic, or you can't go too deep into a subject so much because you're still sort of pressed for time at a meet.
Right.
You're not, but you still want to talk with other people.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I know when I was when the game nights for Seaweed were still going on regularly, and I know they do now, just kind of limited capacity. I unfortunately have not been able to meet any of the ones during this past 6 months or however they've been going on. But just with that, I know just kind of keeping a look at the clock, and it's like, oh, I know we're gonna have to head out soon. that type of thing. Just that's the thing that kind of stinks, knowing that that there's always going to be an end to it. But I think, with that, and then also all of the events of recent history, I want to be more proactive in terms of actually reaching out to people to hang out, a la today, and taking more pictures of stuff I do, because,
It's something that you look back in time. It's often enough the more random the picture, the more interesting it actually gets in time.
right,
Or
right,
else the ones that, like, oh yeah, you're going to take pictures with your friends. That's another fun thing. Then there's the random ass shit that you just take that's like, why the hell did I take that? What the hell's going on in the background?
right,
Someone's
right.
someone's chugging jello shots by like their
Yeah.
mouth becoming a vacuum. And that alone becomes a fun conversation piece that you can look at in the future with those friends or by yourself and can remember, oh yeah, that's right. Um, this doggo is using his mouth as a vacuum on jello shots and totally getting plastered at the same time with a silly face on. It's fun. You look back at that kind of stuff. The small simple things is the stuff that I almost tend to look at more. Group pictures or pictures with other people, I enjoy those just as much as the weird random photos of what are we all doing in this photo. Everyone's doing something, which almost makes it even more real because it's not staged. Yeah, you can get pictures with people. In a sense, it's staged, but it also isn't. But you stage them to say, hey, I want a picture with you. Beyond
Yeah.
that, it's just literally what it is. Picture with friends. And then random photos is what I like to tend to keep because it's little bits of detail that I might forget.
Right, right.
Like, I have so many pictures at cons. And I take pictures of literally anything just for, just for simply reminding of the smaller details that eventually I will forget and then look back at them and say, oh yeah, so that's what those carpets look like at that hotel. Now they're changed and whatnot. Or there might be good pictures of me at a convention and then all of a sudden there's a weird random zoomy pic where I'm like totally blurred and like,
I love that one.
or it's like the one photo of me running in a hallway in the MFF atrium. And I was literally doing like a serpentine run where I was like running in an S. And in one of the curves and whatnot, my friend Briggs took the picture. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm being a doofus because I wanted to be a doofus.
You're phasing out of existence in
Yeah.
that photo.
And my friend Toxic in the foreground looks like she's had enough of me. It's like, I am done with this bullshit. And then me, I'm like, zoom. And I didn't realize that picture was taken. And it's those kind of pictures. It's like, you know what? That's a fun time. It was
Yeah.
a random nothing moment, but it's captured in time, and it's so much fun because it exists.
Yeah, and I do want to do that because, like, as you said, with not really having any photos of Dog Bomb, I don't have any photos of Biscuit.
I don't think I have any photos of Biscuit either, and it's just stuff that you don't actually think about.
Right.
Actually, wait, there are photos of Biscuit at the bonfire meets. Those do exist. But as far as me actually going out of my way to take a picture of Biscuit, I don't. But as far as the group photos, he's in them.
Right.
But,
I know Synth and Purple have photos of him, but I need to take more photos of stuff.
and I've been toying around with the idea of want to do like a downtown Milwaukee just photo shoot.
Let's do that. That would be awesome.
Literally meet up at a meetup point, or in this case, I just pick you up and go to a parking garage where we'd all kind of like meet up.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's outside, it's safe because we're not going into any buildings. It's literally taking pictures of street life in Milwaukee.
That would be awesome.
And extra points for those that use a film camera.
Yes, indeed.
But any camera is going to be fine in this case, because the idea is to just take street shots. Take a picture of anything. If it's interesting, take it. And I would love to take more film photography shots of downtown Milwaukee, the 3rd Ward. Kind of make sort of a day event of it, and just get a few other furs. Have a camera. You meet in this parking garage. Yeah, it beats parking on the street where a car might get, sideswiped and whatnot. Or at least in a parking garage, it's somewhat safe. It's just you pay for it later, but that's fine by me.
Can I share a spot with my bike?
Just actually...
I'll put it.
No.
I'll put it between your car and the lines.
Actually, no. You just actually stroll up to the to the ticket booth. You just push the button. You just take it and you ride into the parking garage. It's like...
Oh, wait, I should probably stop laughing because Kurt Adam's trying to sleep.
I want to be taken seriously on the road, and I'm going to show him I'm going to pay a parking spot with my bike.
I love my bike.
Because I kind of want to actually do that in different cities as well, but I definitely want to do it in Milwaukee, because Milwaukee is the biggest city in the state, which is perfect because it's 20 minutes away from me.
Should be the capital.
It should be the capital, really. You live in the downtown area, so you're in the heart of it.
Could potentially even walk there, depending on how far away it is, the location.
There's so much good architecture there, but also to the lake.
Yes.
It's a perfect playground if you want to take a picture and just take multiple pictures. And I'm sure it's going to be a very small group, but it's something that I've been dying to do. Just freeze with cameras and take whatever pictures that you can.
And I know the path that I take to get to the lake. There are many opportunities to get good pictures of street life in Milwaukee, because from my apartment to the lake, I pass by the jail building, MATC campus, the Riverwalk, MSOE campus, which I go to, and, well, of course, the lake itself. So lots of opportunities along the way to see lots of people doing people things.
Because it's something that I want to do when the weather's a bit nicer, because Milwaukee's not like the Windy City of Chicago. But once you're in the skyscraper area, once that tunnel of wind goes around, even on a warm day, it gets a bit chilly. And then when you're out in the sun, then you're baking, which I definitely want to do this, like, I don't know, about late April or maybe sometime in May. Also just kind of do it like in a more frequent thing, where do it in Madison, do it in Kenosha, just do it in a few other major cities that have like a downtown aspect that we can explore, take pictures of, and just kind of have fun. The whole purpose that I want of this is just to literally have fun amongst one another.
Right.
And the vehicle through all that is through cameras and just taking pictures.
I've had some similar thoughts of my own for stuff, though not necessarily for street life, because honestly, once I get my suit, I kind of want to do some public suiting stuff, just mainly to get people's reactions, and also because just to kind of adopt an attitude of, F you, I'm an adult. Being an adult means I have autonomy over my own actions.
Yep.
I will go be stupid, walking all the way down the lake in this silly costume and documenting you all looking at me along the way.
Yeah. I mean, that is incredibly possible.
I would like to do that sometime.
I don't think it's ever been done in Milwaukee as far as I'm concerned. Although maybe there has been some attempts, but that was with bar hopping, but that's along Brady Street though. But in downtown itself, I don't think anyone's actually done it. I've done it in Kenosha many, many years ago, where me, Briggs, and Toxic Wolf did nighttime tours of the city, which actually, you know what? It's actually kind of perfect.
That
Especially
sounds
in the middle
great.
of the summer, when it's warm, but not too warm, because of
Right.
course the sun's down, but there's still residual heat of the day. There's still heat of day still going on. So what may have been 70 or 80 or 90 degrees is now 50, 60, or even 70. It's still not bad. It's kind of warm, but it's not super warm, but it's not super cold, which is perfect time. It's just stuff like that where I kind of want to just make an excuse to get together.
Yes.
That's what 2021 is going to be. 2020 was literally just surviving it and understanding what the hell's going on and what I can do within it.
Yeah.
Now that I've learned an entire year of what's going on, and since it can only go up from here, now I just want the excuse just to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Definitely want to go to more car shows if they do end up happening, which, again, car shows are outside. There wouldn't be any real worry because it's not an indoor event.
Right.
And if you're parked car lengths away from people, you're literally 5 or more feet away from other people sitting in a car show. If you are part of the car show, if you're walking around being visitors of the car show,
If you are the car.
you're doing fantastic already there. It's just 2021 is literally going to be, as I've come to expect now, not the year of excuses. It is the year to end all excuses as far as just hanging out is concerned.
Yeah.
I know that
I get entirely what you mean by that. I've kind of been starting to do that too. Like I've kind of realized, people always say school comes first. No, not always.
to me, it's, there's always next time.
But we don't.
But we don't know when next time is going to be. And when we
Or
say,
if there even will be one.
It's like when I say, we'll see you next episode. In my own poetic way of wanting to see you next time, then there's the existential crisis of, but when is it going to be the next time?
Yeah.
That's when I kind of want to end the excuses of I'm busy, or I don't have time, which, yeah, there's going to be some moments where you're going to be busy doing something, but you're going to use that as a crutch, as an excuse for a lot of things that you could be having fun with or with others. Eventually, that's going to be the crutch that you'll use all the time, and then eventually that we'll see you next time is going to be literally, is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 6 months until you see this person again?
Is it gonna be never?
Is it going to be never? And with 2021, I kind of want to change that. I'm kind of fed up with the idea of, hey, we'll see you next time. That next time could be 2 years, and it could be with locals who could be living nearby. Enough of my own excuses. I want to put my ball in their court by saying, hey, you want to hang out? If not this week, how about next week? How about let's plan even for next week, or if not, how about 2 weeks in advance that we know we have nothing going on? We can pen that into paper and say, hey, this is the day that we just go out and just hang. Enough of, maybe I'll bug them in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, and then literally 2, 3, 4 months later do occur and nothing happens. Not even so much of an attempt was made, it's just you did nothing. And that's now become my own pet peeve. It's not so much the pet peeve of others that I'm more concerned about. I'm more concerned about me being the person saying this, the person actually doing this. It's the thought that I had in my Chasing the Night video that I made last night while just zooming around.
I still need to watch that.
It's literally the idea of, I miss friends, I miss family. It's the idea of, you just got to do it. If you keep saying, I'll get to it eventually, that eventually may never actually happen, and I don't want to put more existential dread on things, but it's like, when was the last time I saw Biscuit? And when was the last time I may have actually talked to him? It's those kind of things like, we don't know when our time, and I'm going real deep on this subject, but we don't know when our time is actually over.
Yeah.
And no one will ever know. With Biscuit, it was almost kind of sudden.
It was a blood clot after leg surgery.
And I think it just happened. I think it just suddenly happened. I don't think he even knew what it was. And I think by the time they found out, I think it may have either been too late or after the fact.
Synth took him to the hospital almost immediately, but
it's sad.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of, especially with 2020, was a rough year, because it's a year that literally, didn't see many people for a full year. Anything can happen. And if I can see some of my friends, not to say that I am expecting something to happen, I just want to make sure that I can still, wow, man, this got really, really rough and dark. I definitely want to see my friends experience life with them more often. And again, no one knows.
right.
I'm just going to say that. No one knows. And just would love to just do things with friends just to not have to worry so much. Because it meets cons will come. Oh, okay. I'm gonna give the Roo a hug.
Oh,
There we
thank
go.
you.
There we go.
Sorry, this is just something that's honestly
It's
been on my mind the better part of, oh God, how long?
for a long while.
Yeah.
And this has been something I've been thinking about for like the last, I think, 3 or 4 months. Because I was fine and the feelings were dormant. Until I realized it's 2 years without Dog Bomb. And the impact he made on the community, people knowing that he was dying. He knew he was dying. But he wasn't going to have it in any other way but his own way. If he was going to go out like a light, he was going to do it in fashion, in his own terms, which is admirable,
Yeah,
given his circumstances.
I never knew Dog Bomb, but I remember watching all of that happen, and that's exactly the same thing I felt where I felt like that was very admirable of him.
And people that never have met him but followed the course of that year with him, suddenly they got to know him, almost felt like they did know him, even though they never did. It's much like the same with Lemonade Coyote. I've passed him in the halls at cons a few times, but did I ever actually talk with him? Not really. However, after his death, the more that I got to know who he was as a person, and actually quite similar in my own qualities as well, the more it's like, well, shit, we would have gotten along if I would have gotten to know him, which, it never happened, but, the more and more you know a person that you didn't know, the more you almost felt like, damn, I actually could have swore I could have known this person, even though I never have. We had so much in common that it's relatable.
Yeah. And suddenly you're an Elvis impersonator.
Or you're Tony Clifton.
Who is that?
That's Andy Kaufman's. It's easy to explain.
I'm not cultured, sorry.
But it's pretty much like an Elvis impersonation. However, Andy Kaufman, the comedian, creates a character. Tony Clifton. No. The Clifton. Tony. Was it Tony Clifton? Damn it, I forget. I said it before and I totally forgot. But it's his own. It's pretty much an impersonation of someone fictional. but kind of Elvis-like, but funny, but in his own way. And after Andy Kaufman passed on, there have been Tony Clifton impersonators, so much so that they have their own.
That's great.
They have their own company, well, not company, but like their own club where, they decide who gets to be Tony Clifton for this month or that. It's actually quite serious. I'm sure it's like Santa Claus, or it's much like Elvis Presley. They must have a union or something. Say, okay, you can be this for this month. You're going to be in this outfit, and then you can do these references or something. And they get pretty methodical with it, which is funny.
That's awesome. I never knew about that.
But yeah, I think with you know what? Actually, a perfect example of something of enough excuses, just do it kind of mentality. This podcast, for example, is one of them where I've been wanting to do a podcast since like 2017 or 2018. And I say, you know what? I'll actually get to it. Oh, yeah, I'll actually get to it. It didn't take until the year of nothing is happening that I actually thought, you know what? I'm not going to cons, I'm not going to meets, I'm not doing any meets. I have so much free time. And 2020 got bored because I got, like, for me to sit still and not do something is alien to me. Not used to that feeling. So I finally decided, you know what? Screw it. I'm actually going to do my podcast that I've been wanting to do for a while. So as far as the excuse story, or the excuse culprit, this was one where I decided I'm no longer kicking that can. I'm actually going to pick it up and throw it away. I am actually going to do something I've been saying I wanted to do it, and then have fun with it. And you know what? Ever since I started doing podcast, this being the 50th episode of all times, 50 episodes in, and this feels quite normal. It's nice just to talk about stuff like this. I can't wait to go to conventions and doing this live in front of people. We're figuring out ways to have an interactive audience, kind of like the Drake It Show, when they do their own podcasts.
I've never watched that or listened to that.
It's pretty good.
I've heard of it for a few years now.
It's
I know you're tight with Xander.
Xander and Alkali, yeah. Xander's a great fellow, and Alkali, another great fellow. Went to a pride party, and the first time I actually got to meet him, he ended up putting his hands down my pants. And he was like, oh, and then it went totally serious, like, oh. Because he's like fondling around in there.
Oh, and God.
Alkali's got large hands. Holy fuck, are they?
Oh, God.
That may be too much information at that point, but
yeah.
The Drake It Show is a good example of they want to do a podcast, so they did it, and they didn't think they would get a month or two through it before they were disinterested and stopped doing it. I had that same fear, and then turns out within about, I started in August. By the end of August into September, I realized this is actually a lot of fun.
Holy heck, it's that soon? I thought it was going on longer than that.
No, I started last August saying, you know what, I clearly don't have enough to do, and I have way too much time on my hands that I think, and I just kind of want to do something fun and something I can do constructively that I can vent and bullshit and talk about stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then relay that to other people that they can listen to, maybe relate, and get some entertainment out of it as well. And this has been the most amount of fun. Much like, now again, here's another thing. Running a panel at a convention, I've wanted to do one for many years, thinking, well, I have to have something interesting, which, at a panel, you could do something totally unique that no one else has done before, and it would seem interesting, or do something that's already been done at other conventions or whatnot that no one's done at one con yet. Have fun with it, and then you realize, oh, this was actually a lot of fun. Because sometimes it's fun to go to a panel as an attendee, but when you're the host of a panel, it's an entire different ballgame of, this is actually kind of fun. I got people's interest and, like, not interest, but their attention on me. I can be a teacher.
Teacher Hoosk.
Oh, I'm getting the ruler out. And then, start telling people how it is, like film cameras and reenacting and whatnot. And that's another fun excuse, well, not fun excuse, but like another one of those excuse things where you were going to do it, you thought about doing it, you say you'll do it, and you never done it until you said, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway.
Cough, cough, me getting a car.
And then, eventually, you realize, I could have done this a lot more sooner. It's like with podcast. Really? And you've seen the setup.
Yeah. It's
literally, it's simple.
Yeah, you just got a microphone, you got a laptop, you're good to go.
Yeah. And you know what? That's it. People have asked me how to do a podcast. I literally say, get a microphone and find a recording thing on your computer. Literally go to like a recording app that's like a generic app on your computer and use that.
You don't even need OBS.
No. Literally all the stuff is kind of there for you, and the title card and whatnot you can create all on your own. Or if you're really fancy with stuff, you can make things really pop if you're very fancy.
Yes.
Me, I'm very simple because it's like I used to be fancy, then I stopped doing it a long time ago when I was a kid, and now it's like, darn it, I wish I would have retained some of that knowledge because it's like really, really rusty and I want to use it. It's like...
But you're still fancy. You're French. You come from the land of fans.
Of ho and baguette.
Yeah.
So really, there has been a few things that I have done as far as saying excuses of what I wanted to do. Never really get a chance to do it because either the time wasn't right or didn't have the interest then to do it. Then to finally eventually do something about it and then realize, this is a lot of fun. I should have done this a lot more sooner. Also goes with friends. When you finally get to hang with someone that you say you always want to hang out, and it finally happens, and then you say, shit, I should have done this a lot more sooner.
Yeah.
I say that too. And I'm at fault with that too. It's like...
Thinking about it, the whole thing of not really taking that opportunity, I'm just thinking back to when I first when I first met you, found some of the furs at my college, and we ended up going to one of the food meets, which, I know, you weren't there, Biscuit wasn't there.
That was at the round one, right?
No, this was going to Culver's in September, which then became, let's drive down to the lake and then walk down the pier. But that was a lot of fun. And then learning about your bonfire meets, and then hearing, okay, well, I'm not going to have a ride down there because I don't know anyone, and the local furries wouldn't be there because they're busy. It's a 75-minute bike ride to be with a bunch of people that I do not know.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. This was like a month into me starting college and being, not living with my parents for the first time. It was in a dorm, so I took that 75-minute bike ride. Ended up being, I believe, the first attendee at your bonfire to bike there, and...
You were there... you were not only the first person to have ever biked anywhere to one of my meets. I think you were the very first one to show up at that time as well. Because we talked online because I had to give you the address, but beyond that, you were literally the first ones to show up and on time, which furry showing up on time is a mythical thing.
I think Oberlin was there.
Yeah. Yep. There are very, very few people that will show up on time to any meet. What I notice is with my bonfire meets, if they start at 6 o'clock, people show up at 7. And often enough, all of them are there by around 9 o'clock. So 3 hours into it, then all of a sudden everyone's there by then. But very, very few people are ever there at the beginning. Which, to be honest, if you're going to a fur meet, go there when it's at the beginning, because then you get much of your whole meet time. And you get all of it. And you feel like you've got not to say money is the root of all evil. Actually, it is, kind of. But you want to get your money's worth out of a meet by showing up there when it begins and when it ends. Then you feel like you've gotten the full experience. You're feeling pretty good. You're feeling full and happy. And you feel like, you know what? I got everything out of this evening. It's been fun. I can sleep like a squirrel. And then,
oh my God,
everything's fine.
Oh, I'm thinking of your October bonfire. Oh my God, the whole sleeping before and after was great, because I remember that Saturday was the day that I had my final half marathon run for the half marathon series I was participating in. Well, there were some 10Ks in there, but most of the runs were half marathons. I believe it was the Ice Age Glacier Trail series here in Wisconsin, and this would have been for 2019. And that day that you had the October bonfire was
the same day.
Yeah, the same day. My run was in the morning, so I slept in as much as possible, did my half marathon run, slept until like an hour and a half before the meet. Then I started biking down, got to your bonfire, left at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then slept after. But that was one of the best days that I have had, just doing that and just kind of saying, fuck it, I'm gonna do this.
Sometimes the more crazier times.
And I'm sorry, before you get on with that also goes into what we were talking about before of not knowing when last time was, because
that was the very last.
That is the last bonfire meet to have happened, that October one, because of coronavirus disease 2019.
Yeah. And that was the biggest meet that I've ever actually personally ran. It was at
68 people.
And some people who went to, not to say I'm blaming the Madison meet, because I do know the people who run the Madison meet, and they're very good fellows too.
Yes.
But some of them went to the Madison meet instead. And when I told them the number, like, shit, I was actually thinking about wanting to go to the bonfire meet, but I went to Madison instead. I should have gone to the bonfire meet just to be the 69th person. It's like,
no, you said the number. You should have left the. You should have just never said the 69 number. Now you can't take it back. Now it's in there.
I don't know. I think people are probably going to, when the bonfire meets come back, they're like, okay, we're going to hit 69.
Can we break a new Berlin fire code for the amount of people we can have in a single backyard? Because you can't have a tenth of that in West Dallas just by the postage stamp size backyard alone.
Actually, yeah, that is a total fire code violation. I don't know if it would be fire code, but there's oh my God, there's so many people in one backyard that, like, not even family reunions are that big. 68 people, and on that same night, nearly all the furs going to my house were using Google Maps. And because people were trying to find which house it was, because people parked on the entire length of that street, they were finding out which house it was. They tricked Google Maps thinking there was a traffic congestion there. And for the first time, and the only time ever, Google Maps put a yellow mark on my...
That was the one, the October one?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There must have been at least 20 cars, 30 cars.
I'm glad I biked there then. Not that I had any other choice.
And my driveway was totally full. My side of the street parking was totally, like, not full. Oh my goodness. But I would say a good 300, 400, 500 feet on either end of my driveway, full of furry's cars. So much so that people were trying to figure out which house it was so that they can park and walk back. Google Maps thought there was a traffic jam and then put a yellow strip along the whole stretch of that part of the road, only in front of my house. So much so that someone took a screenshot of it, and I have it saved somewhere, and I don't know where it is, but it's probably in the group chat.
Oh, man.
You know what? That's a first. I can't think of any furry house party, not to say they've had so many people
Right.
show up, but because
68 people.
68 people and their cars that did show up caused a traffic jam on my street. Not many fur meets can say that. Yeah, that's just cool, and I was quite proud of that. It's like, you know what?
You're
we were
important.
one close to 69, and my meet caused a mythical traffic jam on my street. I'm proud of this.
I'm thinking of the guy with the shopping cart full of used phones causing traffic jams everywhere.
Oh my god. But yeah, we took those bonfire meets for granted. I certainly did.
Oh man, they were
because I didn't
special.
think I wouldn't be able to run them, because technically it's something I've ran since 2015, and it was just second nature, and I never considered the fact that a pandemic could be the thing to not wipe it out, but just to halt festivities until things get better. Never have I ever thought that could be a possibility, that not just a canceled month due to snow, which
Yes.
in 2019 was the first year in which a month got canceled due to weather. Not just any weather, snow in April.
Oh, I remember that. Well, not the bonfire, but just the snow in April, because I remember, I would have still been in high school at the time, senior year, and while I didn't do track that time, I do remember all the hubbub about stuff going on with meets.
And I wasn't certain if the meet was going to go on, because it's like, oh, well, we could still do it. Yeah, we could still do it. But with rainwater or snow in backyard and people trampling,
Yeah.
I would have a muddy backyard, which
Your
would
backyard-
destroy it.
Your backyard is muddy anyway when you have 68 people. I remember I showed up with my bear paw slippers on, biking the whole
Yeah.
way, the 75 minutes, like the 8.5 miles or whatever.
There's sections around the bonfire pit that
And
were
just
totally flat.
stepping and just sliding everywhere in these slippers with my butt out. And of course, I didn't bring a change of shoes because I did not think that far ahead. But oh man,
Yeah, it's
being alive is kind of cool.
being alive is very, very cool, and certainly keeping the torch up for those that aren't around us anymore. We will keep the memory alive by keeping that torch up anyway.
Right.
But also, too, as you said, being alive is cool. Definitely take advantage of it while we can.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just better off saying, fuck it, no excuse, just do it anyway.
Yeah. And as you said, with kind of keeping that torch, like with Biscuit at least, Biscuit helped me explore a part of myself that I had been kind of unsure about and kind of kept hidden. Not necessarily sexuality, but I guess sex adjacent stuff.
Right.
And even not necessarily that, but also just honestly just the day-to-day conversations we'd have, just not regarding any of that stuff. I think I'll probably treasure the most.
You know, you have a really good friendship when you can just talk about anything. When you can talk about just about anything, you know you've got a special friend right there. While I have a lot of those friends, because of pandemic, that's technically halted because of pandemic. And even before pandemic, yeah, online we can talk about stuff, but I'd rather like to talk to people in
Right.
person because it's just more fun. But then finding a good time, them finding a good time, there's not conflict of interest. It's just literally just finding time. And then eventually it's like, okay, it's hard right now. We'll wait a while. Then you wait too long, and then you wait too long, and then when you finally get back together, it's like, shit, we should have done this a lot more sooner, just because it's fun when
Yeah.
you talk.
Whoops. almost knock things over through the sheer power of motion.
And Roo. So yeah, it's so much fun when you actually talk just about anything with a friend. That's when you know that your friendship's gone to a whole different level of. You're not just talking about furry stuff. You're just talking about stuff in general.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk about concrete nails, and you're gonna talk about different types of nails and whatnot. When you can have a conversation about nails, you know you've reached a certain point to where anything is gonna happen.
And not getting nailed, but just nailed.
Oh my god, not getting nailed.
But yeah, that's honestly that it's kind of weird thinking about the whole duality of the experience of being alive and being with people is just you treasure all the normal things such as routinely having conversations with the people you care about. Also treasure all the unexpected things like one of the experiences I had at Fur Squared. Probably shouldn't put it on the air. It's nothing NSFW. Okay, maybe it is NSFW, but
we've talked like there's a lot more
also,
worse things we've talked about in the past.
I suppose also more considering the people involved with the story. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, just honestly, that's the duality of it. Cherish the normal, cherish the abnormal.
There we go.
That's the thing. Just, I know it sounds silly to kind of put out loud like that, but just
people tend to forget about that, or they know of it, but they need to be reminded of it too. And then sometimes take pictures. It's like
I want to take more pictures of everything now. Honestly,
take pictures or it didn't happen.
Just to go back, and honestly, even if that's not the thing, even if I don't look at them, just kind of on a whim, which I do. I look at the F2 pictures I have. I look at that duct tape dummy picture a bit, but also just kind of like some unrelated conversation, some other group. It's like, here, have this photo. Figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I do that with some of my archive and some of the pictures I've taken. Say, why did I take a picture of that? Oh, wait. And then the more you think about it, it's like, oh, well, maybe it was that reason.
Right.
And then you start to think about younger Hoosk mind about why I took this picture. And it's like, well, okay, I can understand why I took that picture. Yeah, just take pictures too.
Yes.
Enjoy and cherish all the things. And then along the way, you take pictures of it too. Because sometimes just the big details and the small details will eventually matter pretty good. And it's a good recollection of things that has happened as well. And sometimes it makes good for like a slideshow. That, or like on a panel, like a slideshow of stuff like, oh, look at us, we're all being weird.
Yeah.
And doofuses. And here's pictures to prove it. And then more people enjoy the photos because it's relatable.
Right.
So.
Even with that, I've enjoyed just kind of randomly dumping the duct tape dummy image in my college's shared Discord server, which about a quarter of the student body is in, and getting everyone's reactions from that.
I did a keg, I did a bong, I did a DDT.
Yeah, I got duct taped up.
And then the entire student body is like, we're all weird, but this is so cool.
And honestly, engineering college, MSOE, everyone is weird. We're not really about drinking and partying. We're about watching people at 11 p.m. on an exam night chuck laundry detergent pods into the dorm elevator and giggling our asses off.
That's actually funny. I have to admit, that is actually pretty funny. Speaking of Tide Pods, so remember when that became a meme where it was the forbidden fruit? So then you know how like individual packages had to be like boxed in these plexiglass boxes that you take, they have to unlock, and so you can get your Tide Pod package, or they're like locked behind glass and this and that.
Oh man.
So people are stupid because they're gonna do it anyway, or people are gonna steal it. Okay. Then there's like razor shavers or something like Gillette like big brand stuff where people are gonna steal it because it's expensive, and
Yeah.
I can understand. I started noticing that some Walgreens have now started doing that with deodorant. Apparently, people are stealing big brand deodorant brands.
Oh my goodness.
It's like I would like to buy some Old Spice, but now it's trapped behind a plexiglass sheet.
Please assist me with my high value item.
Exactly.
It's like you're buying a computer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the security level these days is kind of nuts. Computers I could understand at that point. Compared to a Gillette razor, you'd rather protect a computer than something that doesn't still cost that much compared to a computer. Or Tide Pods, which are just still stupid, which, to be honest...
Oh my god. Oh, my favorite Tide Pod photo is, I wish I knew the fursuiter. Oh, I wish I knew so I could just give attribution to it, but there is a photo of a fursuiter, and of course I can't even think of the colors or the species or the gender, but you have a fursuiter with a pizza in their hand with Tide Pod toppings on there, ready to put it in the oven. That is my favorite photo from all that stuff. I wish I knew the suitor to just give attribution.
I still can't believe that was a thing. Just because someone says, "Oh, you can eat it. Oh, it's like forbidden fruit."
Oh my god.
And to think people actually, like, literally bought into it. It's
You
like the
ate
cinnamon.
it!
It's
You
like,
ate it!
it's like the salt challenge or the cinnamon challenge or other dumb cayenne pepper powder challenge. So we get all these challenges and whatnot. Then all of a sudden, Tide Pod challenge. What? Where are they gonna go with this? And then I realized people were putting it in their mouths.
Oh
and, like, chewing it. It's like,
no!
oh my god!
I mean,
people are gotten stupid.
I know people drink laundry detergent anyway. I've heard stories of people in the store uncapping laundry detergent, drinking, getting caught by someone else and saying, "I'm going to pay for it."
Wait, that's a thing?
Yes.
What happens when you drink laundry detergent?
You feed your addiction for laundry detergent? I don't know. Maybe it helps with the meth withdrawal. I have no idea, but when I read about that being a thing, just oh my god.
Let's actually expand on that. Let's make it worse. So, if people are drinking laundry detergent because they're trying to unfix their meth addiction by taking meth and drinking laundry detergent, making Tide Pods the forbidden fruit, oh my god. So, urinal cakes are now mints, and deodorant
man.
sticks are now like butter or cheese or something.
Oh my god, that just it just
I gotta get my Old Spice.
that just
I need
reminded
my
me
Kraken and just start
Oh.
shrimp.
that just reminded me of when I was still in elementary school and someone took their deodorant in the shared bathroom on the second floor, I believe, which, had a wide open wall, and just drew a giant penis on it with deodorant of all things.
Oh my god. You know what's actually one thing that was strange that one of my cousins did growing up was eating change. Well, not really eating change, but swallowing change on a regular basis.
What the fuck?
I don't, and for many years, he was saying,
I'll turn you upside down. Give me your lunch money, nerd.
and she always complained about stomach problems, and we never really considered it until one day I was like, "Why are you swallowing pennies?" And well, she's stopped doing this for like
Okay.
I think 12, 15 years. But when she was a kid, she did this on a regular basis, which I've once accidentally swallowed a penny by accident. For some reason, I forget how it happened. By the time that it was already in my throat and went down, it was already like too late, and I felt
You are made of money.
which at this point, it's been 20 years. If there's anything there left, it's well dissolved by stomach acid. I have enough zinc to last me a lifetime. I guess.
You now have copper poisoning and it has affected every thought that enters your Hoosk brain.
Yeah, it probably has. Explains quite a bit, but for her, I don't know how much change she ate, but it's disturbing, and I'm glad she doesn't do that, but oh my god, that's something that she did.
Now that I think about it, it would probably taste good. Just kind of the metallic taste.
Oh my goodness.
Probably the same reason why kids would eat lead paint chips.
That I did not do, but
I did
I
not
don't
either.
think I've ever actually considered it to be eating paint chips. I guess crunchy. Oh.
The lead.
You know what it would resemble like?
What?
Like when you empty out an M&M's bag, like I guess really any kind of M&M's bag, and you get the small not partial, but you get the small little fragments, and you put those in your mouth. It'll do little chew, chomp, chomp, and you would feel the little crunch. I wonder if it's something to do with that.
Oh.
I have no idea, because I'm trying to think of why do people eat paint chips? I know people did it off of on Hot Wheel cars, which were painted with lead, the old ones.
Yeah.
When you smash them together, little paint chips come off, and
Don't want mom to get mad. Let me clean up.
Oh my god. I am now a human vacuum.
Hold on. Someone might be trying to get a hold of me.
No.
Because my phone has been angry.
The phone is doing an anger.
Yes, it is doing an anger. Nope. Just chats I did not have muted on Telegram.
So, there's detergent, so Tide Pods, so deodorant sticks people would probably just chew, which I wouldn't be surprised someone probably does do that. Eating soap bars. So then A Christmas Story, right?
Yes.
Ralphie!
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fudge. But I didn't say fudge. I said the mother of all bad words. The big honcho. The big stink.
It is the mother of all bad words. You could say fuck in any country, any language. People will know what it is.
Yeah.
If every single person on the planet Earth in the solar system who does not speak the language English knows at least one English word, and that word is fuck.
Yeah. Even French Canadians that are speaking in total French, there's a video of a lightning strike, and they're like, holy fuck! And that's the most American thing ever, and then they go back to speaking Canadian French again. It's like, whoa, so in everyday life you're speaking Canadian French, but when something awesome or terrifying happens, you turn it instantly American for that one bit.
Oh my god.
Because there's actually some Canadian, French Canadians that do not know a lick of English. Because in Quebec, French is the primary language.
Yeah.
English is a very close second. But there's still some French Canadians that only speak French, which is fun.
Just, fuck.
We were going about this, and I forget where exactly it came from.
I'm kind of curious now the etymology of fuck. Where did the word come from? How did it come to encompass just every topic to be a wild card word? How did it infect every other language? It's, it rolls off the tongue easily. It has force to it. It is a prime choice for a profane word, but
It's
still.
guttural.
There you go.
Fuck!
Bless you.
Oh my god, it could be... Fuck! Excuse you? No, I sneezed. Oh my god. So now we found the only perfect way to say fuck is by actually pretending that it was a really bad sneeze.
Oh, that'd be better than, sneezing like an elephant, which
Yeah.
when I was in elementary school, one of my classmates had done often and would sometimes actually go out of the room to do it. You could hear him down the hall.
Oh my god.
I would have much preferred the fuck sneeze.
So, the Axe spray cans. I can see people inhaling that through their nose. Just, oh my god. Axe. Just stuff that, products that are used totally incorrectly by people that probably shouldn't be doing that in the first place.
And what I want to know is who was the first person to decide to use not whipped cream, but the compressive properties of a whipped cream can as a drug.
Who the hell thought of it first?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't get the rest of it out.
Oh, I feel.
God, that smells really good. And then
I'm no longer frustrated anymore.
I cannot remember anything past Tuesday. Or like gasoline, although gasoline is like the classic inhalant. And then anytime you hear someone say, like, or like when you get a whiff of gasoline, oh, don't do that. That's pretty bad. And then when you like catch them, like, oh god damn, that smells good. I'm like, I caught you. Although gasoline does smell pretty good though. But would I huff it? Probably not. But from afar, just from afar, it smells okay. But to be inhaling it straight out of the can, oh my god, no. I want to be brain dead. No.
Right. Musk furries with socks.
I can actually agree that sometimes just a sock can be enough.
And you know, the amount of art out there of characters going into a hypnotic trance just from sniffing articles of clothing.
Oh my god.
We have made it a form of entertainment.
Oh my goodness. So many socks.
Uh,
I think there is a movie. I think Alcali made a mention of it like years ago. And I think the movie is called Scent. Or I think it's just this dude that just smells dead people or something. Wait a minute, I have to find out if this actually exists.
I can smell your memories. Ah.
Let me find it. I'm curious.
I hope Kurdan isn't stuck awake listening. That would be terrible.
Alright, I want to see. What the
You know, while you're looking up for that, I just kind of had a idea with a podcast. I'm sure tons of people have done this already, but if you ever wanted to have a podcast in suit, have one of those Bluetooth microphones for each person. Have it like at the end of the tongue of the suit head, and then there you go. Who needs to be a VTuber?
I'm going to put it on the YouTube.
Oh, wait. Speaking of YouTube, I have this image to show you. If I can find it. Here.
How do you get YouTube to come film you? Been calling YouTube all day to come film me, but no answer. How do other people get their videos up there? I have some really funny stuff, but they won't come. Uh-oh. Oh no.
For the people in the audience, it is a Yahoo Answers post from 1 decade ago. Yes, it does say 1 decade ago instead of 10 years ago. From someone asking, how do you get YouTube to come film you?
I do not know.
Uh, I love people.
The world is beautiful.
I love people. I love them.
It's a beautiful world.
It can be.
It can be. Well, it is 2 hours and 10 minutes.
What's the longest podcast episode you have?
I mean, it's definitely past 2 hours, but I don't know. We've never done a 3-hour podcast.
Actually, not. I wonder if Windows would let you sort by video length just to kind of see. Though this is Windows 10, I don't know if that is still a thing or not.
I think maybe 2 hours 40 minutes or something was the longest.
Very long.
I mean, okay, 2 hours is like a good episode. 3, even I have length standards as far as like
Yeah,
podcast goes. I think I'd
that'd
cap
be
it
too
at
long.
3. At that point, it's like, you know what? No. If we need to go to 3 because it's a really good time, all right, fine.
right.
But at that point, I'm capping it exactly at 3 hours because at that point, now is just insanity.
Right. You know, I just kind of had the idea. Maybe I should start downloading Hooskcast episodes. I know it's not called Hooskcast, but I like to call it that. And playing them as I bike from point A to point B, just to at least have that.
Oh yeah, you know what? Everyone out there, if you want to download these episodes through the YouTubes, go do it because I don't mind one bit because it means that we are being listened to,
Yes.
which is the whole point of podcast is to have listeners. And also it's good background noise because sometimes you just need a good background noise.
Yes.
And this podcast is absolutely perfect for that.
Sometimes when I'm washing the dishes and my roommate isn't in the apartment at the time, I listen to episodes of this and then I'm laughing my tail off just doing dishes.
I do the same thing with the Dragon Show. So I do the same thing but with other podcasts.
Ah,
So yes, this podcast is perfectly acceptable for the following things: doing laundry, doing dishes, cutting your lawn, watching paint dry, putting on the paint so that you can watch the paint dry, cleaning your room,
fixing the chain on your bike for the umpteenth millionth time,
replacing a tire.
going to sleep. Well, maybe not that.
And if you really, really, really are lonely, in the shower. Just not directly in the shower, but in your bathroom. But then now all of a sudden you've got...
I
all
would
of
be
the
a
sounds.
raisin by the time I come out then. I already
Oh
tend
my God.
I already tend to take long hot showers if I don't have a time constraint. Like I can get in and out of the shower in 5 minutes. Do I want to do that if I have the time? No, I will sit in there for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I
And
kind of do the same thing.
and to the point where I feel like I have a minor headache just from bathing in hot water air that has not been circulating.
You become prune.
Rune.
Prune.
Kanga prune.
Kanga prune. Yeah, if anyone is considering just downloading these episodes for your own listening enjoyment, do so, because, yeah, I don't mind that.
My tool of choice for this, if you are okay with command line tools, is called YouTube-DL. It has many options, including things such as extracting just the audio out of a video, downloading entire playlists, downloading stuff from sites that aren't YouTube. It is actively developed. There are new releases, I swear, like every 3 days. It is my go-to tool for that kind of thing.
And what is it called?
YouTube DL. However, it is a command line tool, but there are numerous graphical front ends for it.
Very nice.
That's my shout out because that is probably the most actively developed one.
Very, very nice.
Also recently in the news for a bogus DMCA takedown request, which they recovered from.
Well, I am actually slowly getting a bit sleepy. Although I don't have to wake up till like 6 tomorrow. But, yeah. If it's one thing that... Okay, so, adulting. Buying postage stamps. Ordering new checkbooks.
What's a checkbook?
Ordering return address labels. So that you can put it with the boxes of envelopes and the rolls of U.S. postage stamps. Shit, I totally forgot where I was going to go with this. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so you know, your folks, your grandparents, whatnot, they tend to turn in early for bed and whatnot, and you think, oh, that's an old person thing. Then you realize it's smart. Because when you realize that when you go to bed at a reasonable time, the minimum that I would like to get for sleep is 6 hours, because I can still function on a perfect day 6 hours without an issue. Anything less than that, I start to struggle. But if time allows and I have nothing else better to do, everything is all done, or just literally just would rather turn in early,
yeah,
I notice that 7 to 8 hours feels really, really good. And sometimes when you develop a sleep cycle, like I am doing right now and have been, that I notice that anywhere from around 9 to 10 or even 11 o'clock, it's like, oh, this is totally bedtime. Time for swirl. And then you swirl. And then when you get really, really good with this, you can't break it so much so easily. And then it's like, oh, it's that time. It is definitely the swirl time.
Swirl in my pouch.
And the swirl.
Swirl. Squirrel.
Ooh. Well, I think we could probably wrap this up now. Actually, we talked quite a lot about definitely things that we've not actually discussed on the podcast yet. So this is some new stuff. But also topics that I think other people are also experiencing right now. Like exactly the same thing. And I think some of you out there are going to say, oh, they know what I'm thinking. Or like, I know exactly how that feels. Because you know what? We're not the only ones to actually experience this. It's just I don't think many people talk about it. And talking about exactly what we just mentioned about, you know, missing your favorite people in life, missing the favorite things to do in life because of pandemic, and also perhaps wanting to do things and then you make up an excuse of why you're not going to do it. Well, I'm actually tired enough to where I keep forgetting where my train of thoughts go.
Eating Tide Pods, sniffing markers, things everyone has done. Or thought about.
It's fun just to have something that everyone can at least relate to and like, oh my god, yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
Making out with a human-sized tuna? Or was that before the recording?
That was during the recording.
Yeah.
Man hugging a giant tuna as big as him.
With bloody feet.
With mysterious bloody feet, which I don't know how. And if that fish caused the bloody feet, oh my goodness, do not mess around with tuna. Do not mess around with big tuna. That's like big pharma, but big tuna. Actually, that's what we probably want. It's probably what we need in this world. We need big tuna to fight big pharma. Because if you really think about it, omega-3 oils are quite healthy.
We need big tuna from lab-grown fish in order to still have fish without the whole, hunting fish part. Which, with meat, once lab-grown meat takes off, vegan will no longer be a subset of vegetarian.
Right.
Which will be very interesting.
I actually think that would be pretty fascinating in time. And I think eventually when, the world and everyone in it starts to realize that we got to take care of the planet that we're living on. And it's great that we're going to Mars. It's good for scientific advancement and greater good of mankind or whatnot, but I also like to think there's so much more we can do with planet Earth.
Right.
So much we can make better, and we're already looking at Mars and say, oh, well, we can definitely colonize Mars in the next 60, 80 years. And like, well, now we're going to, ignore planet Earth. Ooh.
Imagine going to Mars, and then you become an indentured servitude like it's 400 years ago.
Yeah.
Except now with phones.
That, and it's like the Wild West, but literally there is no West.
Oh my
it's
God.
just space. Wild space.
Imagine the Martian memes.
No, and then you get like Billy Bob, Martian, with a pitchfork and say, God damn it, they're on my land now.
Oh my God. Or just
Son, get the shotgun.
playing multiplayer video games is like, oh fuck, I got in a lobby with a Martian person.
I think it's going to be terrifying
The-
when a whole
the
bunch
pain.
of astronauts go over a mound, and then all of a sudden they hear banjo music played from a Martian. It's like, oh fuck.
What if we
Here we
ended
go
this
again.
right at 2:22:22?
Should we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Zooming Hoosk podcast, and I'm your host, Dustin DaHusky.
And I am Lilia Roo.
Thanks for tuning in.
Ciao.